There's a lot of turmoil right now between you and the current chairman.
There's no turmoil between.
Well, you said that you wanted to beat him up the other day.
Yeah, I mean that was having fun.
Or you don't really want to beat up Reince Priebus?
No, I don't need to beat him up. I just put my record up against his.
What does the disagreement stem from right now? I mean, because you say rightly that you won in 2010.
Reince Priebus was my right hand. I mean, what annoys the heck out of me is that for 2 years, Reince Priebus was in every room I was in, a part of every major decision I made for how much money we would spend, what we would spend that money on, what the priorities of the RNC would be. And for him to stand up there and pretend as if he wasn't in the room, that he had no say in the decision-making process, and that the so-called debt that he inherited was the one that, A, as a member of the RNC, which I was not, he voted for. Number one. Number two, he recommended to me to go into debt. And for him to then sit there and act like he had nothing to do with it and that somehow he inherited this mess that he helped create, to me is just pure BS. And I kept my mouth shut for 2 years because, hey, I'm a party guy. But you know what? At the end of the day, you say to yourself, they're dumping on you, they're crapping on your legacy, they're giving you crap for stuff that they didn't want to do in the first place, coalitions, expanding media, social media networks. They virtually ran my guy out of town. They didn't want to support him. A coalitions department, I had to fight every year for the measly $900,000 that we put into building 185,000 volunteers around the country as part of our coalition network. Now they want to spend $10 million. Problem? Hello? You know?
All right. We
don't get me started.
So you're saying Reince Priebus was there with you?
Yes,
everything that he's criticizing now.
He was my general counsel.
Answer this for me.
Sure.
You win in 2010, like you said. Basically, your position is, listen, you can criticize me all I want. I won.
Absolutely.
In 2010.
Look,
right?
I admit I'm not the most conventional chairman the RNC's ever had. I get that. I mean, I told folks coming in the door, my style is different. I worked my way up through the ranks by pulling myself through this process. So I wasn't part of any particular group.
So why weren't you reelected as chairman again?
Because they decided to control the money. And they couldn't control the money with me. I remember I was firing consultants. I was not renewing contracts for people who'd been at that trough for years. And so they start this whole, money issue. He's spending too much. These guys would take an FEC report, and they would see $10,000 at the Four Seasons Hotel, and they would put out the narrative, leak out the report saying, oh, Michael Steele just spent $10,000, staying at a Four Seasons.
Right, and then there was the scandal about there was some strip club or something.
A staffer went out and spent $2,000 before the story had legs, as I told Tucker Carlson and his team that broke the story. Look, it's been dealt with. The staffer was fired. The money was recovered, and we put in new procedures. They held
that up as
indicative of my lack of management and control of the institution and my wild spending ways. I didn't even get to go to the club, for God's sake. If I'm going to spend $2,000 at a strip club, I'm going to be at the strip club.
Let me give you.
I'm not going to send a surrogate.
I'm going to let that statement stand on its own. let me give you my beef, because and you can respond to this. My argument has been, why are we letting the networks like MSNBC and George Stephanopoulos, why are we letting them control the debates during our primary process? And I've been told those were decisions that were made under your watch.
No, again, who told you that?
I've been told by people at the party.
People at the current party?
Yeah. So
idiots all, liars complete, because I had no control over that. I didn't set that agenda. I was gone before the schedule for the debates was set. They fired me by then. That was set by Reince Priebus and his team, not me. I began discussions in the only network I started discussions with. Guess who it was? Fox.
All right. Well, now again.
That was
this is a discrepancy in information.
That was in October of 2010. I started the discussions for the primary process that would begin in January.